So that I.
Am I good?
There's barely.
Good. Call the URA board meeting to order at, let's see, 6:03. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Dunbar.
Present.
Commissioner Goodwin.
Present.
Commissioner Page.
Present.
Commissioner Hagedorn.
Present.
Commissioner McCall-Wallace.
Present.
Commissioner Papen.
Present.
Commissioner Redding.
Here.
All are present.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, motion approved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Motion's unanimous. All right, at this time, we will take public comment. I will ask that you limit public comment to 3 minutes, and we will be timing because we need to move quickly. Is there any public?
I had Commissioner Dunbar.
This comes after public.
Okay.
I got you. So is there any public comment, or anything not on the agenda?
Look at the US, URA board members. It says Michelle is a member and not a director. Should it be changed?
Yes. But
Are you seeing that on the website or in the minutes?
On the website.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
Thank you.
yes, thank you.
Okay.
Ray, can you make a note? We'll figure out how to fix that. Oh, thanks. All right. Public comment not regarding what's on the agenda.
Okay, never mind. He took it back.
All right.
We withdraw.
Is there any online? Any public comment online?
Yes.
No hands at the moment.
Okay. Moving on, unfinished business. I believe Commissioner Hagedorn has a.
Commissioner, yes, it's going to take a minute to get used to that. I do have an announcement. Effective last week, I was appointed as a board member to the North Plains Food Bank. If it is deemed by our city attorney that I have a conflict of interest in an issue brought to this body by the new North Plains Food Bank, I will certainly recuse myself. So that's just a disclosure to the council and the audience.
Thank you. Any thoughts on that?
So Ashley just spoke from the city attorney's office. So regarding personal conflicts of interest, I can give you the legal standard, but any advice about how those would pertain to you, in your personal capacity, you need to reach out to the Oregon Government Ethics Commission and make a decision.
Good. So moving on to, or I'm sorry, we are on unfinished business item. So Bill, did you, you mentioned you had some, or do you want me to start?
I mean, you can introduce, however, I was just going to, I don't want to take up too much time, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically what I wanted to do was, in public testimony at the prior Urban Renewal Agency meeting, we had comment from Laura from the North Plains Food Bank, and she's working on a very significant project to expand food bank presence as well as other services at a location in the city, or that's what she's working towards doing. And she came in public comment and asked the North Plains Urban Renewal Agency Board, you all to consider a significant investment in the potential for significant investment in doing that as a partner. And so I wanted to say, you know, I did some research on whether or not we can do that and sent out an email, but what I basically want to highlight was is a couple of things. I heard from Senator Weber's office about this project and what the funding picture looks like for everything. And what I wanted to say basically is, after speaking with Senator Weber and our chief of staff, it sounds like the far more likely, much closer within reach funding ability that the city, not the URA, but the city might want to consider is actually for Senator Weber's office to work towards funding for a refrigerated truck for the North Plains Food Bank. And that would be something the city as a body has a way to get behind. But in terms of this funding round and with the legislature, she was very, Senator Weber and her chief of staff were, what's the right word? It was not going to be a likelihood, given the way things were looking, that the food bank could get, even with city support, that kind of a funding request. So her recommendation was, start with this more immediate, more quick impact funding request for a refrigerated truck, just to kind of better immediately provide better service. And there's a way that you all as city council, rather than you or a board, can get behind that. So that's basically what I just wanted to share on this.
Thank you. Counselor or Commissioner, sorry, any comments, discussion, thoughts?
So I think I would love for us to have a brief discussion, whether it's here in URA or under our regular council meeting, to kind of provide some direction to staff and help them understand if it is the will of this council body to be supportive of the food bank, as a community partner, and maybe we can't fulfill this original request, which goodness, I wish we could. But that we are providing guidance and direction that we would like staff to continue to look for opportunities to partner. And that we want to be able to contribute things that don't have a dollar amount attached to them, things like leveraging our city comms to help amplify, fundraising efforts and things like that. That I would like, as a gesture of our support, as providing that the majority of council feels the same, that we would put some structure around that and ask for some continued effort towards supporting the food bank's goals.
So should we do that at city council and then the ERA?
It's a good question.
Agreed. Commissioner, I'm sorry, call Wallace, I'll get it right eventually.
Member, Commissioner.
Yes.
So I would love to see us talk more about it, and maybe even work it towards having a full proposal, or a full, not proposal, but more information brought to us. So I know there was, within a couple of long public comments, there's a lot of information. So to really have that be, more laid out, so we can say, oh, laundromats are key, for example, or access, transportation, because there's things as a council we can work on, which may not be specific to the food bank, but that will support the activities of the food bank and our other work. And so I guess I'd like to see that go to council.
Okay. Any comments around the URA? Any other commissioners?
So Bill, just to clarify, how would you need that feedback delivered other than the conversation that we've already started to have?
Well, I mean, in terms of, as city council body, you all, kind of decide how you would like what that support, would need to be or look like. It's kind of up to you all, and then we kind of determine, when and how best to do that, and kind of figure out how to carry that out. That's what it boils down to. So, as city council.
Yeah. So I think this being URA, let's table that to the URA conversation, and let's move that to the city council portion. Any other comments though, or I'll just want to make sure I get all the commissioners. Good. Okay, public comment, if you keep to 3 minutes, please. If you just come up and give me your name.
Yeah. I'm here for technical help.
Okay, and just state your name and for the record.
Laura Dexheimer.
Thanks.
And Chris Edmonds.
Thanks, Chris.
And it's good to see you all. Laura, why don't you start by talking about, maybe I'll just really reframe kind of some of the quick discussion to echo some of what Bill's comments were. We were alerted to the food bank's needs when we heard Laura's comments. I have a deep background in human services. I'm a former director of the Oregon Department of Human Services Office of Government Relations, a former board chair of Morrison Child and Family Services. Human services and protecting vulnerable Oregonians is something that I've long cared about. I also have am blessed with a set of clients who also have been in and around this community for centuries and have farmed in this community, have cared for their neighbors. I was introduced to Laura. I also spoke after meeting with Laura and kind of understanding a little bit more about the request. I also reached out to Senator Weber's office based on a relationship that I have, talked directly with the Chief of Staff, Katie, and I can validate and verify what Bill said, which is based on my experience as a lobbyist in human services, the $2 million request was not going to get funded this year, given everything that's going on. And so I just wanted to give Laura an opportunity to say like what this refrigerated food truck could do and answer any technical questions that folks might have.
So with the refrigerated truck, like in the summertime, I drive around and pick up all the food. And in a hot trailer, when it's 90 degrees out or hotter, the chance of contamination and the food getting ruined is very high. And so, you know, I'm picking up food every Monday and Thursday, driving around. So that's what the importance is, public safety for that. But we use ice and blankets, and so we make sure everything stays good. The other reason why we really need a refrigerated truck is it limits us with not having one of where we can pick up. Like a lot of the big warehouses, like Amazon, for example, they've got the whole grocery side. You have to have a refrigerated truck to even be considered for donations. So that would be huge for us to be able to get that. So, okay, that's my comments, and I'll save everything else for city council.
So in terms of process, there was a deadline that was on Friday. So the legislature has its deadlines, and if you don't meet them, you don't get into the queue. And so there was a request that was put into the Legislative Revenue Office that will go to the Capital Construction Committee. Laura put that together really quickly, which was awesome. We forwarded that on via Bill, and hopefully that was shared with the rest of you all. So that is an active live request that is now in the legislature. And my only request would be that the city authorize its lobbyist. You have a great lobbyist in Tom Holt, who's deeply respected and closely connected with Senator Weber's office. They're ready to champion this request to pursue that funding as it moves through capital construction. Those decisions tend to get made in June. So it's sort of that like late session knife fight. And I'm sorry if I'm kind of running into time here, Council President, but I just wanted to provide the information about what this actually is. One thing that's important to know is that every request that goes in front of capital construction requires a matching contribution. And so whether that comes from the city or from private sources, a matching contribution will be required in order for the food bank to be able to secure it. And so not knowing and given the timeline, we agreed, and when I say we, it's 5 different families that I work with here, have agreed to commit to up to $10,000 in matching funds for that refrigerated food truck. If the city decided that it wanted to match the funds, that would be fine too. I realize I'm at time, and I'd be happy to answer any more questions after that.
So I think at this point, this goes to city from what we just discussed. So Ashley, if you can just help me with this, I believe because there's no motion on the table, there's no need for anything else, right? Because that's the last agenda. Is there any more public comment on this? So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you. Just go right.
Just one question. What are we talking about on the refrigerated truck?
The,
Out of curiosity, what would the total be?
a new truck would be $130,000.
And the used is 70,000.
So, yeah, so let's bring this back to council. I'm gonna go ahead and adjourn the URA board meeting. I just want to make sure we do this correctly. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And thank you for being on top of things. And thank you, Chris, for the help. So at this time, is there anything else?
I make a motion to close the URA meeting.
Second?
Okay, any discussion? I guess there's no discussion, sorry. Okay, there's a motion on the table, and it's been motioned and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We adjourned at 6:17. Thank you. All right.
we're gonna take just a couple minutes break, let everybody settle in.